Ladies and gentlemen, Convocation is now in session. As Chancellor, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our 295th Convocation. To all our graduates, first let me say congratulations. You have worked hard to achieve this, and graduation represents a major milestone in your lives. At Convocation, we assemble as a university community, the University of Western Ontario community, to celebrate and recognize your achievement. And we wish you every success for the future. However, your learning days are far from over. Learning is a lifelong process, and Western has not provided you with answers to all questions. At most, we hope that what stays with you is a way of thinking objectively, approaching problems with an open mind and healthy respect for new ideas, all tempered with compassion and empathy for the human condition. You are forever a cherished member of this great university, founded more than a century ago. We welcome you into the Western family, and congratulations to each and every one of you. Now today, we also confer an honorary degree upon Paul Thompson in acknowledgement of his contributions to Canadian theatre and for his work as a playwright, director, and producer. I'm delighted to welcome him to this convocation, and to present our distinguished candidate, I will now call upon Professor Emerita Madeleine Lennon, Faculty of Arts and Humanities.
Paul Thompson. Paul Thompson, director, producer, and playwright, has been instrumental in creating theater that is specifically Canadian in content and form. Joining the alternative Toronto Theatre Passe Muraille in 1970 as a director, he developed a new experimental collaborative process for drama creation. This collective creation redefined the traditional roles of everyone involved in theatrical production, starting not with a script, but with the exploration of a community or event. Thompson sent the actors to research people and place. As a collective, they transformed their experiences into performances and crafted these into dramatic theater. The first such production was The Farm Show, researched and performed in 1972 in Clinton, Ontario. Described as a cultural phenomenon, a model of its type, and one of the finest works in Canadian theatre, The Farm Show attracted a new audience for theatre, hundreds of people from the local community who responded with overwhelming enthusiasm. At a time when theatre in Canada consisted mainly of American, British, and European plays, Paul Thompson sought the culture of Canada in this land, in ordinary people, in common heroes and historical events. He and his collaborators took these materials and, turning them into art, created myths of Canadian culture, developing a new body of nationalist literature. Thompson not only directed or supervised over 30 collective creations, among them Maggie and Pierre and I Love You, Baby Blue, he also produced over 100 new plays during his dozen years at Theatre Passe Muraille. At the same time, he encouraged and supported the careers of many actors, writers, directors, and playwrights, ensuring the lively future of Canadian drama. After his tenure at the Theatre Passe Muraille, Paul Thompson served as Director General of the National Theatre School of Canada in Montreal, where he founded a playwrights and directors program. Through his support and leadership, he helped to establish important Canadian theatre companies, including Newfoundland's Codco and Saskatchewan's 25th Street Theatre. He has worked with First Nations people to develop their own voice, and as director helped create important works such as Generic Warrior, No Name Indian for Toronto's Native Earth Theatre. Today, as a freelance director and producer, he continues to bring Canadian voices and stories to our stages. Paul Thompson has worked across Canada, but in many ways, his roots are here. Born in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, he was raised in Guelph and Listowel. He attended Huron University College at the University of Western Ontario, receiving an honors BA in English and French in 1963. In the 1960s, UWO was a hothouse of talent, and its summer theatre was noted as a cradle for the alternative theatre in Toronto that developed in the 70s. Participating in college productions and the summer theatre, Thompson connected with people who would go on to work in alternative theatres in Toronto. Thompson also had a scholarship to study in France in 1963, and there he experienced a different approach to drama. Accepted as an apprentice director with an important populist director in Lyon, Thompson learned new techniques in acting and directing. In 1967, he returned to Canada intending to create a new kind of theatre at home. In fact, he changed the face of Canadian theatre. Paul Thompson's achievements have been recognized by the Order of Canada in 2008, the Dora May Vermoor Award, the Toronto Theatre Alliance Silver Ticket Award, and the Chalmers Award. He's the only playwright to have been honored with a tribute evening by the Toronto International Festival of Authors in 1997. In 2003, he was the first recipient of the Huron University College Medal of Distinction. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and in the name of the Senate, I ask you to confer the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, upon Paul Thompson.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Congratulations, Dr. Thompson. Thank you. Yeah, and the floor. All assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Dr. Paul Thompson, to address Convocation.
This is a hard act to follow. I'm tired from just listening to what I was supposed to have done there. But it is a very, very moving moment. And Thomas Wolfe was wrong. You can come home again. So reminding you fellows out there, boys and girls, men and women, you may find yourself coming home again, and it's a wonderful experience. Mr. Chancellor, distinguished platform guests, the stars, the graduating students, and ladies and gentlemen. In the middle of the 1970s, I was leader of a tremendously talented collection of theater artists, and together we were attempting to discover and or reinvent Canadian culture. Our launching pad was an entity grandly and a bit mysteriously called Theatre Passe Muraille. Our farm audiences later had trouble pronouncing that, and they called it Theatre Passe Muraille. But translated at that time, we translated it as theater through or theater beyond the walls. And we were taking on the country with a clutch of plays, some of which you've heard before, and I'll repeat, with names like The Farm Show, 1837, and The West Show. And in our spare time, we grub-staked startup groups such as Newfoundland's Codco, Saskatchewan's 25th Street Theatre, you've heard both of those, and Alberta's Theatre Network. It was a sort of in-your-face nationalism, and we were a wild-looking assortment. I had hair out to here. I saw a couple people modeling my model there. So I'm glad we're not completely out of fashion. And a beard down to here. I was convinced that if I grew my beard longer than Robertson Davies, he might start talking with a Canadian accent, but it didn't work out. And to symbolize our commitment to the nation, my wife, a brilliantly talented actor and artist, created this wonderful coat. Okay, so you have to imagine me wearing this wonderful coat, which I wore to lead our dialogue with Canadians all across the country. It's a rich design that transformed the Hudson Bay trading blanket into a ceremonial vestment and a functional winter coat. Now, ironically, of course, not as warm as the 20 furs or 200 furs that they had to trade in order to get this one blanket, and then they had to make their own coat. But that's another thing. I wore it proudly. It was a work of art. I have recently read that the writer, John Rolston Saul, has a book that proposes that we are a Métis nation. Very interesting idea. Well, Anne, my wife, prefigured this idea by a good 35 years. At that time, the coat took on a certain shamanic quality and helped those new audiences and even our ever-growing team of actors to understand what we were attempting to do. But today, I see that the coat of that time had another meaning as well in my personal life. It represented, in a strange way, a kind of prefigurement, a sort of foreseeing of what is happening to me at this very moment, when I have taken off the old magic blanket of the 1970s in order to don this new coat, this cloak, this wonderful honor that has been accorded me today. I promise you that I will try my best to ring out the same order of magic with this new robe that I was able to do with the old one, and maybe even to help a new generation as they move towards self-awareness and affirmative action. As I said, a sort of prefigurement, way back then, now. But now I want you to hold on to this idea of prefigurement, for it will return, perhaps in a more useful way. Of course, it is lovely for me to talk about how we fought and won the old wars of Canadian theatre, but I fear they might hold as little interest for you as my friends and I paid to those drunken Legion guys who used to rail on about saving democracy by winning the Second World War single-handedly. That's true. The only place you could get a beer in those days was in, so you had to listen to the stories. Let's have another beer, we would shout. And maybe today you should say, what about us? This is what you should shout. And with good reason, for this is your day. And it is singularly important to talk about you and where your plan, your life plan and journey might lead you. Think about your situation for a moment. Then I want you to use the image of prefigurement to help you look at your situations in the future and divine where you might end up 15 or 20 years, or even 40 years from now, when you might be, like Dr. Chakma, organizing the placing of robes of office up here rather than receiving them. Who knows, right? My experiences have convinced me that we all get hints of what will happen in the future. So I'm encouraging you to keep aware of your inner dialogue, to keep hearing your inner voices. Now, you don't have to be like St. Joan and go up on the pyre of wood. And once you've done that, I want to warn you that you mustn't completely trust them at face value, for they will throw you more than one curve. They can be an amazing guide, but the results might look quite different from the Kodak moment you envisaged. Envisioned, that's it. I'll give you two examples from my time here at Western to illustrate the point. So we're now into prehistory, right? 1960s. We all know that the university and its attendant city together create one of the most beautiful environments in which to acquire an education. We dazzle our parents with this and try and, allay their fears or suspicions. And amazingly, despite the onslaught of generational hordes of teenage and early adult hormones, both gown and town exude a remarkable air of dignified politeness and singular correctness. All that energy going on around, the city is very polite. The university is very polite. But don't be deceived, for I am convinced that it is only a front so that you are forced to avoid their world of predictability and, dare I say, a bit of blandness, and that you are pushed into finding a refuge in your imagination and the odd, desperate impulse. It's just a plot, a trap, set so you will build a deep inner life that would serve you well in the future, i.e., you are driven here to find your inner voices out of a sort of desperation. First case in point, my first year, I'm on the wrestling team, and we have a very good season. But each week, I must make weight, a horrible endeavor. And it means that I work off the last 4 pounds of sweat by endlessly running the underground heating corridors between the buildings of this university. You probably don't even know they exist. You should visit them. They are straight out of Terry Gilliam's Brazil. They are, and they should be on the guided tour. This is where Mr. Thompson lost his 4 pounds of weight each week. And suddenly, in the middle of all this running, a clear vision, my Joan of Arc moment, wow. But by the second year, those Dostoevskian corridors are driving me crazy. There's no intellectual dialogue in wrestling. John, what's his name, the writer? John Irving wasn't here. I guess if John Irving had been wrestling at the same time I was, we would have Socratic dialogues and there would be no theater. So there's no intellectual dialogue in wrestling, and worse still, there are no girls. So I joined theater. Yeah, hey. Always more girls wanting to work in theater than guys, so it's a good mix. But here's the irony of the inner dialogue. I do make it to the Olympics, even though it looks like I took the complete wrong turn to do it. So you cut to 1976 in Montreal, and I'm leading my tribe of theater people. It is summer, so the red coat makes no more than a cameo appearance. And we are invited to create a play in Montreal for the athletes and perform it in the village itself. It's a fantastic experience. We even sit in the saunas with these wonderfully fit people. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite as fit. I put on about 30 pounds at the time, but that's another story. It is glorious. My prefigurement is true, and my actors and I mingle with these amazing people as culture and sport bond in this Olympic moment. But the second example is more germane to you and your present circumstances. Back in 1963, way back then, I have made it through my 4 years and have become smitten by my profs of literature because one day in a French class, right over there, on the 17th century, Dr. Benetton got so worked up about Molière that he actually levitated. No, seriously, he was off the ground for at least 15 seconds. So I'm dazzled. It becomes clear, another of those moments, inner dialogue, Kodak moments, if you like. I, too, will be able to levitate. Just like him, all that is necessary to get your doctorate. And then you, too, can levitate. All these doctors can levitate. You'll watch. So it becomes clear, another of those moments. But by the last year, a problem. My planned path requires a year of teaching high school, and in 1966, 1953, I am told, in no uncertain terms, high school teachers cannot wear beards. The Middle Ages, right? Or something worse. Anyhow, I am incensed. I refuse. So in these very circumstances, the ones you're in right now, i.e. my graduation here, on this same campus, I decide to make a choice that would drive me completely away from my inner vision, right? I decide to get lost, to run away to Paris, so farewell the vision. Now, if I were directing this presentation, as if it were a play, we would pause here while Chet Baker or his stand-in played and sang his famous "Let's Get Lost." Let's get lost, lost in each other's arms. But the budget won't allow it, sorry. So we will just let you imagine that song as you sift through the thoughts of your present circumstances. Okay? Here you are getting your degree, and all your plans are laid out, or you have to pretend they are anyhow. Is there a voice in there suggesting a surprise choice, a complete 180-degree turn, an alternative that might be completely reverse of what you think you're doing? Well, I'm here to suggest that this possibility, the turnaround, might be part of the bigger plan. You people are sharp. You see the irony of my situation here, right? Here I am right now realizing the second of my epiphanies that happened here, 62, well, in 62, say. I'm getting my doctorate. Hey. No, it isn't it's not the image promised, right? It has taken 47 years, the longest degree work you've ever seen, I guess, more than 3 or 4. And like in all true quests, I had to forfeit a gift, the gift of levitating. Even now, I can't levitate, because in my line of work, that gift is reserved for the most talented of actors. They do it in front of my eyes regularly. But I made it here. The voice was true. I am Dr. Thompson. Wow. And I'm here to assure you that if you find yourself pulling a 180-degree turn from your plan, discover it the richest of rides. For in Paris, I did get to meet Chet Baker in a cellar. He was stoned. He would never have remembered it, but I do. He had a twisted flugelhorn, and he was all alone, and he had to play for us for about 3 hours for $2. It was great. I then found my life métier in theater. I guess that's equally important. Et j'ai même réussi à partager mes sentiments et exprimer mes idées dans la langue de Molière. Oh, I waited long for that. I even succeeded in sharing my feelings and expressing my ideas in the language of Molière, in the tongue of Molière, shall we say. Et plus que ça, comme Molière, j'ai eu l'honneur de faire un dialogue continu avec mon public. Even more, just like Molière, I was blessed to create a series of ongoing dialogues with the people of Canada. Pretty heady stuff, eh? You see, the 180-degree turnaround can be quite seductive as well as challenging. When here, I shone in the French literature courses, but I massacred the speaking sections mercilessly and just squeaked by la pratique. My reward today, an opportunity for the walls of Western to hear me say a few words en français et correctement. Yay. Okay, one further anecdote on the inner dialogue. During my time at Passe Muraille, I heard an interview with a popular lead goalie who was asked how he stayed in the game when the play was at the other end of the rink. I have a radio in my head, he replied, and the play-by-play guy is always saying how brilliant I am. Your inner voice. So you can do worse than have somebody you like a lot telling you how great you are inside your head all the time. And this brings me to the second theme that I think is central to consider in this important juncture of your journey. I'm sure it is not by accident that you are all in various fields of study that have direct links with culture and social interconnectedness. And that is why a person like me has been chosen to speak to you. I am here to reaffirm what you already know, that culture is not only a keystone to our personal self-worth, but also the bonding agent to our collective identity. It is your duty, and it is a public trust, to keep that culture alive and add to it. Throughout my career, I have had the good fortune to parallel my many journeys and creative adventures across Canada with a rich assortment of exchanges with countries throughout the world, places like Scotland, Italy, Brazil, and the Republic of Georgia. And what I've discovered from all this is how important culture is in the fabric of any society. In the Republic of Georgia, for example, they are convinced that theater has been central to keeping their language alive during the 24 regime changes over the last 3,000 years when they were occupied by foreign countries. They do great theater. They have some of the most brilliant directors in the world. Still, when I was growing up, I was told in good Presbyterian language that culture was a frill, a sort of add-on, and maybe a reward. Maybe it was for people, the comfortable sort of people. And maybe a reward also for what my grandfather would have called good hard work. It was most likely for the comfortable classes, as I was saying, and that was maybe a good thing. Good Presbyterianism there. The truth of the case is exactly the opposite. Culture is an essential defining point for the person and the society. It is in our communal DNA. Really, it's there. I've measured it. And in many ways, it is like ecology. Yes, it's a social ecology, and it is essential to binding us together. And like the ecosystem, culture is both powerful and very vulnerable. I charge you to consider this seriously and commit yourself to this very important elements in our lives. But not only to support a growing tradition, the essential point is that you find a way of adding to our sense of self. And here's something key that I've only recently realized about ourselves. Yeah, you can still keep, the light bulb still keeps going on this late. Yeah. It's important that it's so important that it deserves its own book by John Ralston Saul and its own Métis code. Our culture is not a continuing line of accumulated accomplishments. No, its true essence is a series of cyclical discoveries that highlight and put in the forefront our talent for ingenuity and imagination. And the reason for this is that we are a country that asserts the right to continually reinvent itself. Think of that. Think of what that means. It means that we no longer need to apologize for a shortness of history and for a lack of enduring institutions. It means that we can celebrate the groundbreakers and the truly original discoverers, and for what they are doing now, rather than placing them in a museum and waiting until they die. Now, what I say may sound a bit fanciful, but there are good sociological explanations for this. You'll see that my college education can come into play from time to time. Since so much of our definition of self comes from being a nation of continuing immigrants, it only makes sense that we must continue to redefine ourselves and discover new stories that resonate with the new totality of our population. Also, since so much of our economy remains caught up in the boom and bust cycle of our resource-rich world, it should come as no surprise that we express ourselves in a boom and bust cultural pattern. Now, you don't have to buy this concept holus bolus, but I assure you that in my 40-plus years in Canadian theater, I have personally lived through 3 cycles of boom when the discoveries were breathtaking and exhilarating, and have lived through 3 cycles of bust when the lack of response to our efforts was earth-shattering and heartbreaking. This pattern also goes a great way to explain the whimsical nature of a city like Toronto, where the same teams of exceptional talent can be the triumph or the disaster of the local cultural landscape, sometimes in the same season. No, you don't have to buy the whole idea, but do realize the implications for you. Our country needs people in your field to keep telling them who they are. And since they might be changing, they need you more. You are an essential service. And of course, if during your journey you have made the odd 180-degree turn in your life, this might add to your usefulness, for you are flexible to the implied changes necessary in our cyclical culture. If that makes you appear like a person susceptible to contradictions, enjoy your contradictions. Just live each of them fully. A quick example from my own journey. For years as head of Passe Muraille, I railed against the National Theatre School for its old-fashioned privileging of the classics over a training for the emerging theater. All over the place, I just argued like hell. 5 years after leaving Passe Muraille, I became head of the same school. How? I guess it was because I spoke French. Some people likened it to putting a fox in the hen house. But I got a haircut, bought a Harry Rosen suit, not unlike this one I have on today, and the haircut's pretty well the same too, and effected some important changes at the school. That was the important thing. The haircut was just window dressing. The fox enjoyed living out his contradictions. It will happen to you. Whether you listen to your inner voice or not, you will find that out. One more addendum. Above all else, use the fullest range of your personal experiences to feed your work. At 15, I was working for my uncle on his farm, learning to be a man. My aunt had an extra ticket to the Stratford Festival. They're both here today, and that is a deep honor for me. My aunt had an extra ticket to the Stratford Festival, and I could have it if I cleaned out every pig pen on the farm before going. Talk about the labors of Hercules. He didn't have to go to a play at the end of it, so he didn't need the Lifebuoy soap, okay? The vividness of these moments, i.e. the stink of the manure, the smell of the Lifebuoy soap that scraped my skin, and the glorious words of the play in the original tent still invade me. I can recite probably half of The Merchant of Venice from that time. The memory of that play and the pig pen imprinted on me so much that 18 years later, we performed the farm show on the festival stage at Stratford to a full and exciting new audience. It was an amazing moment because they were speaking in Canadian language as opposed to the British language of Shakespeare. My grandmother was in one of the, the $120 seats now in her pink slippers. It was beautiful. And then 24 years later, I guided the workshop at Stratford with Timothy Finley that put Queen Elizabeth I in a barn on stage for the triumphant Elizabeth Rex. Think of that. Official barn expert for Elizabeth Rex. Great title. Use your full range of experiences indeed. Last part, nation of listeners. As I said already, you don't need to buy my theory, but I do hope you will buy the idea of the importance of your work. The richness of opportunities awaiting and the exciting times you will have responding to the challenge. Now it's time for you to listen to your inner voices, to enjoy the irony of realizing your dreams where you discover they don't look like the original dream at all, and maybe finding the equivalent of your own red coat. I've lost my place here. Theater is a terrible thing. If you do, find your red coat, wear it proudly, and get your stories or musical creations or whatever expertise, get them ready. I am eager to hear them. We are all eager to hear them. Canadians are also, among other things, a great nation of listeners. We need you and your ideas, your feelings, your commitments. Now we cue the Chet Baker here. And whether you move straight ahead in a straight line or have more than a few 180-degree turns, we will be cheering you on and wishing you the best of luck. Thank you all, and let the games begin. Let your games begin.
Thank you, Paul, for your insightful address and for sharing your beautiful red coat with us today. Before receiving this honorary degree, you were already an alumnus of Weston, and we are proud of your many theatrical accomplishments. Your work has truly changed the face of Canadian theater and our understanding of how productions can be created. And thank you for returning home to Weston to pass on your knowledge and share your experience with our new graduates. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in congratulating our newest honorary Doctor of Letters, Dr. Paul Thompson.
I take pleasure in asking the Vice Chancellor to present the recipient of the Edward G. Pleva Award for Excellence in Teaching.
The Edward G. Pleva Award for Excellence in Teaching was established in 1987. Each year, the Pleva Award recognizes 4 full-time faculty members whose outstanding contributions to teaching have earned them numerous awards and wide renown. We have one of the recipients with us today. Will Professor Joyce Brun de Garavito please step forward? Professor Joyce Brun de Garavito is a pillar of the Department of Modern Languages and Literature. As the only Spanish linguist in the department, she has revolutionized the teaching of this subject at Weston. Joyce introduced the PhD program in linguistics and has also taught in the Department of French, the Faculty of Education, and in continuing studies. She has a solid reputation as a mentor and leader among both undergraduate and graduate students, with whom she has also co-authors and publishes referred papers. As her dean notes, Joyce has a wonderfully integrated approach to teaching, research, and university service, and she embodies the spirit of the Pleva Award. Mr. Chancellor, it is my pleasure to present to you Professor Joyce Brun de Garavito, recipient of the Edward G. Pleva Award for Excellence in Teaching.
Congratulations. Very good. Excellent. You must be a terrific teacher. I think I have your, here's your certificate. At this time, I take pleasure in asking the Vice Chancellor to present the recipient of the Marilyn Robinson Award for Excellence in Teaching.
The Marilyn Robinson Award for Excellence in Teaching was established in 1997. It honors the memory of an enthusiastic and inspirational teacher who was much loved and respected by both colleagues and students. Will Professor Christine Sprengler please step forward? Christine Sprengler is a professor in the Department of Visual Arts in the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, whose teaching philosophy reflects a commitment to the development of scholarship. Her students and colleagues value her open, selfless, and rigorous teaching style that fosters active participation in the learning process. Christine inspires enthusiasm for thinking and learning and makes knowledge powerful and useful while encouraging her students to be the best they can be. Mr. Chancellor, it is my pleasure to present to you Professor Christine Sprengler, recipient of the Marilyn Robinson Award for Excellence in Teaching.
Congratulations. Terrific. Your certificate. Very good. Well done. I take pleasure now in asking the Vice Chancellor to present to Convocation our newly appointed Emeritus Professors and Librarian Emeritus.
The designation of Professor Emeritus and Librarian Emeritus is an honorary title which recognizes long and distinguished academic service. Will Professor Harold Fisk please step forward? Harold Fisk has made a significant contribution to Western's profile as a leader in the field of music education. He has published extensively on a range of topics, including music cognition, theories of music perception, models of musical thinking, and aesthetic attitudes. Harold has served as editor to Canadian and international music education journals and has also served as an executive officer of the International Society for Music Education. Professor Fisk has been a member of the faculty at Western for 36 years. Will Professor William Harper please step forward? Professor Harper is one of the world's leading authorities in Isaac Newton's Principia and may have a better appreciation of the intricacy and brilliance of Newton's deduction from the phenomenon than anyone else on the planet. He has also been a major contributor to game theory, decision theory, and the analysis of counterfactual conditionals. Bill Harper has been a loved and valued member of the Department of Philosophy for 40 years. Mr. Chancellor, may I present Professor Emeritus William Harper. Will Professor Douglas Neal please step forward? Douglas Neal has deep roots at Western. He obtained his BA and MA here before completing a PhD at Toronto and a postdoctoral fellowship at Yale. Since returning to Western 25 years ago, he has been an outstanding administrator, researcher, and teacher in the Department of English. His name consistently appears on the USC Honor Roll, and he is a winner of the Edward G. Pleaver Teaching Award. As Chair of English, Professor Neal oversaw far-reaching curricular changes in the undergraduate and graduate programs, establishing film as an independent department, and left an indelible mark on the English department. We wish him every success in his new position as Dean of Humanities at Brock University. Mr. Chancellor, may I present Professor Emeritus Douglas Neal.
Terrific. Well done. And good luck in your Brock, is it? Yeah. Very good. Well, that's it.
Will Librarian Walter Zimmerman step forward? Walter Zimmerman graduated from Brandeis University in economics in 1969. In 1971, he received his MLS from Western and moved into the D.B. Weldon Library as it opened its doors. During his 40 years of professional career, he developed library collections, provided research assistance and instruction, and experienced the emergence of the digital library. Walter has had a significant impact on generations of Western students and faculty and achieved iconic status through his vast knowledge, his unchecked enthusiasm, and his enduring commitment to the pursuit of academic excellence. Mr. Chancellor, may I present Librarian Emeritus Walter Zimmerman.
Congratulations, Walter. Well done. Great service. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Will the candidates for degrees please stand? Mr. Chancellor, I'm very much honored to present to you the candidates who have successfully completed their academic programs at Western. I ask you to admit them to the degrees and diplomas for which they have been recommended by the Senate of our university.
Under the authority vested in me by the Senate, you will be admitted to the degrees and diplomas as shall be announced by the public orators.
Would the candidates please be seated? Mr. Chancellor, graduating students, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Convocation is the single most important time of celebration in the life of the University of Western Ontario. Today we honor those graduating students who through determination, hard work, and intelligence have met the demanding standards of a Western degree. Today is also a proud day for all of us associated with Western, including our Board of Governors and Senate, our faculty, our staff, and our many friends in the community. It is wonderful to see so many members of our community of learning who have taken the time to join us and celebrate this important day in the lives of our graduates and the life of the university. Today, those of you crossing this stage join a special group known as Western alumni. That numbers more than 260,000 people around the world. Mr. John Everhart is here representing the Alumni Association, and I would ask him to stand and be recognized. Western's Board of Governors is charged with responsibility for the overall governance of this institution. Today we have with us Dr. John Nash, representing the Board of Governors. I would ask him to stand and be recognized. I would also like to extend a very special welcome to Dr. Howard Rundle, President of Fanshawe College, who is joining us today to celebrate the awarding of the degrees in the joint Western Fanshawe Media Theory and Production Program. I would ask Dr. Rundle to stand and be recognized. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the parents, spouses, children, relatives, and friends of our graduates who are here today with us to celebrate. This celebration would not have been possible without your loving support. So on behalf of this year's graduating class, please accept our sincere thanks for the roles you have played in their being here today. Now let me turn to our graduates. Let me once again congratulate the remarkable women and men who graduate today with Western degrees. Today, you become partners in the outstanding academic achievements of this great university, the University of Western Ontario. My warmest wishes to each and every one of you. Before we proceed with the awarding of degrees, I have two special requests for those of you in the audience. So first, please withhold your applause for the graduate crossing the platform until each group of graduates has received degrees. This will ensure that every graduate receives your full courtesy throughout the ceremony. Second, and a very important one, we know that photographs are an important memory of this occasion for graduates and their family and friends. To ensure that you in the audience have the best opportunity to get good pictures, I ask that you do the following. When your special graduate is approximately 50 to 60 names in the program from crossing the stage, please proceed to the area and the ushers will guide you forward in order that you may capture your special moments on film or more likely on a digital memory device. I now call on the public orators to introduce the candidates for degrees.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies for the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Joe Argentino. Daniela Butte. Gareth James Michael Doherty. Dylan Gordon Galt. Anita Christine Hardeman. Erica Kelly. Elan Nicole Paulson. Jennifer Lynn Bukowski. Brooke Sarah Pratt. Kristen Michelle Warder. Barbara Ellen White. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Arts. Catherine Atkinson, Morgan Barnett, Christian Bergmeister, Jessica Lee Brady, Kara Lees Coverdale, Julia Ivy Sear. Andrea Damiano, Alexandra Dawson, Anna Elise Delaney. Beatriz Adriana Diaz Mendieta, Daniela Nicole De Stefano, Curtis James File. Shannon Marie Foskett, Julianne Hazelwood, silver medalist, Stephen Howard. James David Enos Jackson, Monique Johnson, Shannon Kelly, silver medalist. Michael Kennedy, Kayla Krasnor, Cameron Gerard Kretsch. Amanda Denise Lewis, Matthew Andrew Lundy, Cassie McKenzie. Laurel Mitchell, Marika Matawala, Carla Murdoch. Daniel Nanasi, Lauren O'Neill, Thomas Edward Peacock. John Pierce, Alana Power, Savithri Sastry. Laura Nicole Schrober, Kylie Alexandra Sarabrin, Sarush Sararari. Andrea Skelly, Isabella Sozi, silver medalist, Amanda Claire Stiver. Daisy Tam, Joel Tiller, Jeffrey Turner, gold medalist. Okay. Angelique Veerman.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Library and Information Science: Heather Michelle Alblas, Sarah Allison Lay Barkley, Dorothy Chu Pao Char. Dana Karen Cornwall, Shannon Culleton, Matthew Walter Daniels. Aaron DeVries, Drew Thomas Eit, Martina Fallon. Shelley Farrell, Sarah Ann Folks, Jessica Titania Gamas. Helen Joy Janulis, Nasifa Hamdard, Alana Juanita Hardy. Christopher John Harrington, Sandra Herber, Kristen Leigh Jensen. Gary Jermy, Merit Collegian, Deborah Kenzie. Jessica Ann Kipp, David Lejersky, Sean Lauk. Aaron McDonald, Julia Merritt, Deirdre Dorothy Modrich. Debbie Ng, Monica Ann North, Elizabeth Ann Pattison. Sarah Prindeville, Julie Leah Rasiopa, Laura Nicole Reitzel. Lacey Russell, Danielle Scrafton, Rajiz Srithran. Barbara Elaine Taylor, Joseph William Richard Travers, Stephanie Volek. Aaron Leigh Walker, Leah Ellen Verk, Lindsay Young. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Master of Music: Jenny Christine Atkinson Younger, Jeffrey Boyd, Elena Louise Similai. Caitlin Hannah Cope, Joelle Lynn LaHoo, Andrew Salmon. Nicole Stellino, Christopher Gordon Unger, Sonia Barbara Vandehoef. Mari Emilia Volker, Young Yi.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the Faculty of Arts and Humanities for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts honors programs: Lindsay Michelle Abercrombie, Galia Amols, Paul Andrusiak. Yusra Atta, Christina Au, Rhiannon Barlow. Annabelle Beauvais, Paige Tiffany Beck, gold medalist. Emily Berry. Shannon Bombin, Justin Thomas Bork, Amber Brown. Marco Lungyi Bukhar, Emily Dawn Campbell, Lori Burns. Melanie Carmichael, David Carruthers, gold medalist, Kathleen Cawley. Andrew Theodore Robert Chachula, Amy Chick, Alexandra Dawn Shabatru. Melanie Grace Kofel, Puriya Khorshidi, Dana Coons. Anastasia Daunter, Christopher Joshua Sanders DeHoog, Abby DeBrun. Alyssa Delbel Balouz, Emma Del Deegan, Brittany Dennison, gold medalist. Sarah DeSoma, gold medalist. Nicole Marie Dorsers, Hrud Dewa Dijkstra. Catherine Earnshaw, gold medalist. Bradley Edwards, Simeon David Ehrlich, gold medalist. Rachel Nadine Fairholm, gold medalist. Ashton Nicola Forrest, Lauren Nicole Fournier. Stephanie Frisina, Vincent Paul Frucci, Brittany Marie Funston. Karen Elizabeth Greiter, Kelsey Hawes, gold medalist. Donald Hartwick, gold medalist. Robert Heaver, Jennifer Hazy, Devin Eisner. Lindsay Jansen, Brandon Judd, Lauren May Kavanaugh. Amy Patricia Keene, Katrine Khalil, Jordan Kaufman. Kevin Cool, James Langford, Jeffrey Michael Brady Leatherdale. Danielle Lee, Lee Alexandra Livingstone, Alexander Madsen. Samantha Majuli, Megan Mack, Sarah Marie Marson. Patrick Martini, Dylan McChesney, Diana McLaren Kennedy. Christina Marie McMillan, gold medalist. Sarah Mullen, Sydney Michelle Nagley. Jennifer Claire Neal, Matthew Paunessa, Shauna Peters. Allison Pichet, Bailey Picard, Marc-Edouard Powell, gold medalist. Michelle Prue, Shauna Puopolo, Adrienne Radan Lazek, Sarah Ann Richardson, Nikolai Rodriguez, Christy Ann Rutledge, Brianna Lee Sadler, Lauren Santini, Natalie Schembri, Leah Schoenmakers, Shannon Scott, Risha Sharma, Matthew James Bertram Shumka, Brittany Siddle, Heather Siddle, Catherine Lee Sinden, Sarika Singodia, Erica Sterling. Troy Stewart, William Owen Thornton, Kyle Turner, Amanda Christine Wabro-Pape, gold medalist. Matthew Waddell, Deirdre Wadden. Chelsea Walker, Amy Catherine Wallace, Allison Watson. Hillary Webster, Barbara Kate Dickinson, gold medalist. Lisa Marie Wadhams. Ka Yi Wu, Aaron Zess, gold medalist.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Fine Arts: Jessica Karuhanga, Joshua Kennis, Kate King-Whale. Jill Martin, Jillian Dana Nyberg, Sarah Nantes, gold medalist. Adam William Park, Ahmad Tamkin Sharer, Ruth Shropshire. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts four-year program: Kirsten Allen, Lauren Avinoam, Samantha Barr. Kaylee Boyd, Sarah Burke, Kirsten Lee Carvalho. Nicole Correa, gold medalist, Sonia Melissa Corson, and Melissa Ann DeYoung. Danielle DiPolito, Isabella Dobachaska, Ashley Drakos. Ashley Edwards, Martha Ewing, Sean Carl Brett Fitzpatrick. Robin Elaine Funk, Zara Salim Hadi, Katie Haggart. Sam Hooptwith, Amber Illman, Blair Jackson. Jessica Kalmar, Ryan Kadekel, Lauren Klein. Mitchell Kozuginski, Letitia Coyle McCormick, Crystal Ladizik. Emily Elizabeth Grace Lamb, Asia Laviolette, Carolyn Diane Murray. Eve Nicholson Smith, Stephanie Pocklington, Natasha Sophia Polychronopoulos. Mary Michelle Priamo, Stacy Quintillion, Lucy Sanson. Miriam Shanahan, Jade Shapiro, gold medalist. Alicia Marie Skinner. Michael John Sloboda, Wesley Sprague, Cara Stain. Jocelyn Suddaby, Lindsay Taylor, Christopher Teixeira. Ryan Thompson, Amanda Torchia, Randy Turcott. Alexandria Villani, Amanda Rosemary Wack, Ashley Walsh. Taylor Alandria Ward, Adam Whitaker. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts. Haley Adams, Heather Bainham, Catherine Boleschuk. Kelsey Harmon, Jeffrey Allen Longland, Catherine Montminy. Jacqueline Quinn, Christy Jane Troughton, Tiffany Danielle Trudgeon. Emily Jane Try, Teresa Van, Matthew Casper Yu. Mr. Chancellor, the following is a candidate for the Diploma in Gallery Art and Museum Practice, Jessica Jennifer Faith Henderson. Mr. Chancellor, the following is a candidate for the Diploma in Public Relations, Caitlin Rose Hazen. Mr. Chancellor, the following is a candidate for the Certificat de Français des Affaires, Jillian Margaret May Bruce. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the Wright Faculty of Music for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts, Honors Music. James Beaver, Adelaide Coutinho Cordero, Brett Langlois, gold medalist.
Lucy Liu, gold medalist. Blair Miskey, gold medalist. Brianna Laura Roberts. Okay. Leah Mary Michelle Simiana. Daniel Slinger. I think so. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Music Honors Program. Spencer Margaret Anderson, Alana Lee Birch, Jenica Marie Blydock. Andrew Bray, Paul Ray Brown, Ivy Banajic. Neil Cavagon, gold medalist. Ting-Yu Cho. Karen Chow. Kendra May Chow. Jordan Clayton. Caroline Colantonia. Stephen William Craig. Brent Crawford. Amber Cunningham. Allison Graham. Victoria Susanna Grigg. Sun Young Olivia Han. Jennifer Margaret Harris Lowe. Jenia Hibbert. Melanie Jesker. Lindsay Kelly. Nicole Knight. Jennifer Crabb. Janessa LaFleur, gold medalist. Shihan Liu. Jessica Loney. Yan Evelyn Liu. Jeffrey McClellan. Jessica McMahon. Brianna Joan Papia. Jacqueline Paul. Mark Prince. Lanita Marie Resendez. Amanda Maria Riddell. David William Ross. Brianne Rourke. Benjamin Sajo. Blair Salter. Yi-Ling Xian. Monica Shank. Sarah Christine Shapiro. Alison Spina. Sheila Sur, gold medalist. Iraj Tamadan Nejad. Brooke Noelle Taylor. Carissa Dawn Tomporowski. Stephanie Trichu. Paul Tucker. Jennifer Versteeg. Kelsey Lynn Vicari. Erin Elizabeth Weidman. Sarah Ruth Weeb, gold medalist. Emily Williamson. Tiffany Serena Wong. Dorothy Yu. Mr. Chancellor, the following is a candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Musical Arts with honors. Valerie Dujong. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts, 4-year program. Melissa Ball, Justin Bissillon, Daniel Brian Crystal. Danielle Marie Ferrugia, Jenna Irene Gubbles, Ryan Chris. Orla Alexandria Lipinski, Adrian Martin, Fraser McGregor. Jason Mercer, Christopher Nikoloff, Jonathan Pincus. Lauren Sue, Roman Zedek. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Musical Arts 4-year program. James Colin Douglas Bird, Jung Yun Choi, Adriana Gregoris. Stephanie Keller, Jameson Roberts, Jennifer Lynn Webb. Brittany Laura Wilson. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the Certificate in Piano Technology. Graydon Bowman. Brendan Enright Fraser. Michael Janes. Jonathan Jerome. Hans Kroos. Mary Luisi. Sharon Mock. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates from the Faculty of Information and Media Studies for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts Honors Program. Brad Barker, Elsa Barreto, Mark Berkovich. Jenna Behun, Laura Brown, Sarah Bajaya. Rachel Coffin, Catherine Cornell, Briar Laurie Crockett. Sarah Maureen Dankovy, Daniel Dolan, Emma Fessenden. Jonathan Fung, Sonia Gilpin, Amanda Grant. Rachel Groskopf, Miranda Heipel, Kaylee Henderson. Vanessa Howe, Jason Ip, Lauren Israel. Courtney Jones, Evangelia Caritas, Megan Cashty. Aaron Karolnik, Daniel Kosir, Cassandra Kernick. I know them. Amanda Lay, Jared Linson, Christina Catherine Losiavo. Jordan McKinnon, Alyssa Mallins, Jade Maloney. Crystal Manetveld, Bianca Marcus, Alexandra Martin. Caitlin Laura Martin, Christina McGrath, Carson McGregor. Corey Meingarten, Emma Miller, Madison Moran. Randy Bahari Nanjad, Aaron O'Leary, gold medalist, Mark Oliveira. Philip Palin, Mindy Hillary Perlmutter, Mercedes Carmela Reyes. Jessica May Ringel, Ben Rosenberg, Kari Rothstein. Nicolina Savelli, Ashley Shantz, Lauren Rachel Ann Silver. Stuart Thompson, Selena Tao, Samantha Tranks. Vicky Christina Maria Sekuris, Jessica Uniak, Veronica Marie Valdez. Valerie Villardo, Rebecca Warren, Andrew Weir. Kyla Whitnall, Jessica Williams, gold medalist. Leighton Wu. Melissa Zeller, Brittany Zeiss.
Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts four-year program. Alexander April, Chantel Bowen, Lee Tyler Brown. Yeah, I know. Kayla Chobodiak, Bailey Crawford, Stephanie Crema. Nicole Diana Edwards, Jonathan Freeman, Kanal Golati. Leah Haste, Kayla Jasery, and Joliffe. Kaylee Lawrence, Jessica Marie Magdi, Jane Chi Cheng Man. Caroline Marini, Brandon Mastromartino, Nicole Nobuku Mikolakos, gold medalist. Massimo Satiro, Jenna Siciliano, Lindsay Tara Waters. Brittany Wilson. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts: Jody Ann Cammon, Leor Robin Cammon, Sarah Brianne McAlpine. Jessica Lynn Osbald-Destin, Kimberly Ann Reeder, gold medalist, Katrina Reinhardt. Jessica Amanda Marie Spoto, Lindsay Rianne Strong. Mr. Chancellor, the following are candidates for the degree Bachelor or Baccalaureate of Arts Collaborative Program: Samuel Charles Allen, gold medalist, Christine Elizabeth Beneteau, Justin Berkovitz. Carly Bright, Sarah Burke, Ashley Blair Carter. Alicia Christopoulos, Jacqueline Ann Colville, Tricia Flatley. Adam James Frank, Catherine Fuderich, Elizabeth Gogol. Daniel Goldberg, Monique Elise Gottlieb, Alana Gurr. Keith William Hunn, Jeffrey Blair Kalman, Jacqueline Katzman. Hey, bro. Thomas Kirby, Ariane Elise Klassen, Fraser Laidlaw. Jesse Leach, Michael Lynch, Matthew Mahood. Matthew Mastronardi, Sophie Maria Schwab McNabb, Michael Medeiros. Stuart Mitchell, Ian Morris, Riley Nimmons. Caitlin O'Rourke, Kevin Sato, Paul Sham. Carson Schold, Bailey Spaggett, Kaylin Stanwyck. Adam Tuck, Carol Lynn M. Wark.
In the name of the Senate, I grant to the Registrar the authority to confer degrees and diplomas to those candidates whose names appear in the official program but who are not present today. Now, at this time, I invite Mr. John Eberhard, representing our Alumni Association, to say a few words.
Chancellor Thompson, President Chakma, Dr. Paul Thompson, distinguished members of faculty, honored recipients, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Western Alumni Association, it is my great honor and privilege to congratulate you and to welcome you to Alumni Western. As the Chancellor and Pro-Chancellor conferred your degrees upon you and you walked across this stage, you moved from being students to members of the Alumni Association. You have worked very hard to complete your studies and examinations, and today you have received your well-earned degrees. You join a growing global community of Western alumni, now numbering more than 260,000 members, one of the largest among Canadian universities. In fact, you'd have to travel to over 150 countries around the world to meet them all. As alumni, we are united by the cherished memories of our times here at Western, particularly of the knowledge, the experiences, and the friendships gained. The Alumni Association is dedicated to fostering and preserving those important bonds through its many programs, its servicing, and the networking opportunities that are offered. I'm sure that you have found through your own experience that Western does indeed provide what the Globe and Mail has so often said, the very best student experience among Canada's leading research-intensive universities. And as key stakeholders, we believe as well that UWO provides us the very best alumni experience. At Western, we are so very fortunate to have world-class School of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. We have Faculty of Arts and Humanities, the Faculty of Information and Media Studies, and the Wright Faculty of Music. All of you graduates today have played an important role at Western in those faculties. This will continue as you take advantage of the many alumni Western opportunities that will be available to you. Please know that we are especially privileged to recognize you at this convocation in this venerable institution. Today, I invite all of you to join us in living the vision of our association, to share lifelong learning through your support, your commitment, your purple pride, and your passion for Western. So on behalf of the Alumni Western Association, I congratulate all of you on your achievements today and welcome you warmly in your transition to membership in our alumni. More immediately, I am pleased to invite you and your guests, your family, to attend a reception in your honor to be held in the tents outside the University Community Center following convocation. Refreshments will be served. To you, your friends and families, enjoy and embrace the tributes that you so richly deserve today. And as you look back with fond memories at your time spent on campus here in London, and as Dr. Paul Thompson reminded us, remember, wherever life takes you, no matter how many 180-degree turns, Western will always be home. Best wishes, and until we meet again, farewell.
Before closing convocation, I'd like to express my appreciation to all who have contributed to the success of the day. And in particular, and on your behalf as well, I'd like to thank the University of Western Ontario Convocation Brass for their magnificent performance and their director, Professor James Mackay. May I request that the audience remain at their seats while the academic procession leaves the hall. Convocation is now adjourned.